Good eye, Mike. Flashlight here. And not only do I have a hole in one of my favorite shirts, but this is top flight security of the world. And if you are asking yourself, is that cool dolphin hat made out of cork? Why, yes. Yes, it is.
Ma'am, I should warn you, I do have the authority to make a citizen's arrest.
Taser, taser, taser!
I got people threatening my safety. I'm the security officer here.
You ain't a real cop, you a flashlight cop.
Yep, got a hole in my shirt. Not changing it. What it is, people. What they do. Welcome back. Top flight security of the world. If you haven't noticed or been sleeping under a rock, the CEO of Unitedhealth, which I think is the biggest healthcare insurance company in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, somebody check me on that. But he has been unalived. It's everywhere, all over the news. I got a short news clip here that I'm going to show y'all just in case you haven't seen it to, catch y'all up to speed on what's going on. But when I saw this, and I'm sure when a lot of us security guards saw this, we thought, where the hell is his security detail? So, without any further ado, we're going to get into the first clip to catch you up on speed of what's going on right now. Lego.
Person possibly shot in front of the Hilton Hotel.
Surveillance video captures the moment a masked man pulls a gun with a silencer on United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson Wednesday morning just after 6:45. We're freezing the video before he shoots the 50-year-old father of two. As Thompson bleeds on the sidewalk, the gunman can be seen trying to unjam his gun before shooting again, then calmly walking across the street as he picks up his pace. One witness snapped this photo after hearing the gunshots.
So I was holding my phone, then I hear the shot, And when I looked at the guy was a gun, like the silent gun.
Thompson was in town from Minnesota for a United Healthcare conference at the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, where he was scheduled to address investors.
Every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack. Many people passed the suspect, but he appeared to wait for his intended target.
From the Hilton, investigators believe the suspect hopped on a bike and rode to Central Park. CBS News has obtained this surveillance video, which sources say appears to show the suspect cycling out of the park on West 85th Street just before 7 a.m., about 15 minutes after the shooting.
What we're looking at is a gunman who was thoughtful and prepared, staked out the scene, began by shooting the person in the back.
Former NYPD Deputy Commissioner Rich Esposito says the gunman may have planned carefully, but not perfectly.
It's not perfect preparation in that there's evidence left in the form of shell casings. There's evidence left from prior to the shooting.
Police say the suspect went to a nearby Starbucks minutes before the shooting. Sources tell CBS News surveillance images here may have captured enough of the suspect's face to run it through facial recognition programs. Police sources also tell us investigators are running forensic tests on a water bottle and candy bar wrapper they believe he left there, as well as on a discarded cell phone found near the scene.
The full investigative efforts of the New York City Police Department are well underway, and we will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case.
Well, you heard it. So before we get into the main clip, me and a good friend of mine, more like my sister, basically. She's a Army veteran. And we was just discussing it, revising the video giving each other our opinions on it. Her opinion was this guy had some formal training, shooting a firearm or doing something like this before. In my opinion was he didn't. From my opinion, first things first, when you're going to carry out this is my opinion, when you're going to carry out a hit, you have to make sure that the tools you're using works. The first shot he let off, it jammed. That to me doesn't say professionalism, a professional hitman, or a professional, a person that had much prior training, even firing a firearm. My guess is he probably went to YouTube University or whatever, or he could have even went out the state or whatever, got some a quick little firearm training. My opinion, this guy probably has been planning this, but I don't think has any prior or professional training firing a firearm. So we're going to get into the second and main clip. This is why you're here. This is from his former security, Bodyguard. Here on Top Flight Security of the World, we discuss everything that's under the umbrella of security. Bodyguard work, armed work, unarmed work, fight, the Brinks trucks, money trucks, everything under the umbrella of security. This Bodyguard speaking is under the umbrella. What is going on today? Under the umbrella of security. So we're going to hear what he has to say, and we're going to discuss it. So without any further ado, I would like to entitle this episode, Your Claim Has Been Denied. Lego.
My next guest once provided Thompson with security in the 2000s as he actually was rising through the ranks at Unitedhealth. Philip Klein is the CEO of Klein Investigations, and he joins me now. Philip, thank you for joining. When you heard about Brian Thompson walking early in the morning, alone, no security, was that odd to you?
It was baffling, to be honest with you. You get somebody in the number one healthcare organization in the United States of America who is a corporate executive, a high-ranking one, as a matter of fact, just sitting on the board of directors, and he has no protection around him. That is just baffling. I don't understand it. We still don't understand it. It could have been one of two things. According to the teams that we've listened to today, and of course the news media giving us information. One, it could have been a personal choice. He may have not liked living in the bubble, and that's what we call somebody that is in the middle that we are protecting. It's called the bubble. We're around him. Even when he goes to the restroom, we're still right outside the door, that sort of thing. Or United Healthcare chose not to provide security for him. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not going to speculate on it, but it is highly unusual for the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation not to have people around him. It's just, again, it's baffling.
That might be so counterintuitive to people, to think that, security, many people think, are relegated maybe to high-profile athletes or entertainers or people in Hollywood. But the idea that there would be some vulnerability for people in such high-profile positions, I think, is becoming quite apparent to people, at least this evening. And when you look at that video, the hour of the day, the landscape of Manhattan, just how vulnerable was he to any attack?
Any attack. It could have been a person that had him targeted. It could have been just a street vendor. You just never know. I thought Mary Ellen kicked it out of the park I love Mary Ellen. Every time she's on television, I'm intrigued by her. But one thing I haven't heard from a lot of people are two things. Number one, the when the event happened. The event happened at 6:30 in the morning. A lot of people say, well, between 6:30 and 7. A lot of people say, well, why is that important? Well, that's shift change for the New York Police Department. So there's not a lot of street officers on the street at that point in time. Second, I believe, just from what I've listened to from newsreader reports and Intelnet reports, I believe that this man had his schedule. I think this man knew his movements. And I think he posted up, 5-10 minutes before he walked out of that other hotel and walked around the corner and was in front of the Hilton. I think that that's important. And the last thing that I heard your other guests talk about is the gun and the positioning of the gun and how the gun jammed. He did have a suppressor. He did have a baffler on that gun from what we've seen in the videos that have been supplied to all of us out here in the field. And the gun jammed because of the recoil of the action on it and the baffler. And not only that, but the silencer, let's just call it what it is, a silencer. And it did not set off any of the monitors in the city area that listen for gunshots that would have put police in the area immediately.
Wow.
So it just seems like the perfect storm.
Well, Philip, I mean, we don't have much time, sadly, but let me ask you, how many bodyguards should have been around him? What would that detail have looked like to secure his safety?
If he or his company had hired our firm, we would have had 10 agents around him at the minimum.
Really?
And that would have been an advanced team in front of the hotel, but we wouldn't have never moved him like that. We would have moved him out of his hotel through the back entrance, put him in a small motorcade, brought him over to the back entrance of the other hotel. That's how we operate.
You're saying other CEOs would have that, Philip? I mean, you're saying CEOs of companies, that would be something like a government official. They would have that level of detail.
Yep, because he's fixing to give a speech in front of stockholders that are not being monitored and are not being checked. So I would make sure that on my team, if I was the detail leader, I would make sure that we would have had the room secure, number one, but number two, we would have brought him through a back entrance because it's that important. You're talking again about a very important man in this country.
Philip Klein, wow, thank you so much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it. Let's discuss it. I wish I need to start getting like a pen and a paper and writing down these points. I hope I remember everything. So, first things first. I know that high executives of these huge companies have 24-hour bodyguard work. I'm talking about Virgin Mobile, the Virgin company, Best Buy, Walmart. Though, even this, I'm not even talking about the CEO. I'm talking about the people that's right up under him. People that's on the board. CEOs and high executive people of banks and just companies, big water companies and car companies. They have 24-hour bodyguards. What? Okay, he said maybe he doesn't like bodyguards. He doesn't like being in the bubble. We call it something. We call it the square. But I have come across people that don't like a lot of bodyguards, surrounding them for whatever reason. But if I were, the mover and shaker of the Unitedhealth, if you want to be CEO here, you're going to have. I will make that like mandatory. You're going to have security, especially if you're going to go talk and have this conference with these I forgot who investors or whatever. First of all, before the primary, is what we call it, the primary goes anywhere, there's a team that goes before and is checking that room from top to bottom. Now, I understand they said that the people that was coming there wasn't going to be checked, whatever, but at least the room itself. And then, like he said, the way you move him, I wouldn't have gave out that type of information of how we move them. But then you move him and blase. But the fact that he had nobody, he's not from New York, he lives somewhere else. You go to New York and you don't have bodyguards. I know every security guard worth his salt is like, how did this happen? This is, I don't know. I'm just a guy with a hole in his shirt. Another thing, before we wrap it up here, everyone were giving their opinions on the motive of why this even happened. Here's my opinion. I think it was a classic John Q situation. If you didn't see the movie John Q, it is played by Denzel Washington. His son, I guess, needs a heart transplant, and the insurance company doesn't cover that. And so he hails up the whole hospital, takes hospital staff or hostages and everything until his son gets a heart transplant. So I think it was something similar to that. I think this, listen, take my words with a grain of salt. I think that a close family member of his needed some type of surgery or medical attention, and his plan didn't cover it, or even if he had the best plan of the best plan with Unitedhealth, it just, they didn't cover whatever that surgery or operation or whatever, it didn't cover it. So instead of him pulling a John Q, you know, in his head he was thinking, we pay all of this money each month for health care. You know, if you pay for health care, you expect to get health care. And please, people, I'm not advocating for him. I am not advocating for him. I am not advocating for him. I got to say it 3 times, you know, y'all. But I'm trying to put my mind in his mind. And now my close family member, whoever that was, has died because, one, we don't have the money for this operation, hence why we're paying Unitedhealth X amount of money each month. And I think that person passed away, and instead of him pulling a John Q and holding taking over the hospital, because how realistic is that, he said to himself, you know what, I'm going to go to the tippy top head person. That is what I think he was thinking in his motive for pulling such a heinous act like this. Me personally, I think the fire, I think he had a suppressor, that maybe some aftermarket silencer on whatever firearm that was, it didn't fit right. So when the slide why am I stuttering so much? When you shoot the gun to slide, you know, slides back and it ejects the shell out. I think maybe the silencer, let me try to find something here. This is the silencer. This is the slide. Maybe he had it on there a way where he could probably get one shot off, but once the slide slid back and slid back forward, sometimes the shell doesn't get ejected out of the chamber and the shell gets stuck in there, and you got to rack. You got to, we call it, tap and rack the slide to get the shell out of there. But because that silencer wasn't probably made for that firearm, which caused the jamming of it. And again, that's just me. I could be totally wrong. I've seen some people say that it's not a firearm at all. It's actually a veterinarian tool that he used. And it looks like a firearm with a silencer on. It's some veterinarian tool. I didn't know this part here. I wanted to just you guys get my honest reaction. I didn't even know that. I didn't see it. I seen it, then I wanted to co-react with you guys. I didn't know that was the time that the NYPD had his shift change. This guy did his homework, or somewhat. I didn't know that. Wow. Please, people, be careful out here in these streets. If you are a high ranking person in a big conglomerate or a company or whatever, or if you're a mover and a shaker in some companies, get your executive personnel and you some security. Get you guys some bodyguards. I mean, I've did bodyguard work for a high net worth person. And he's really not known, but he just wanted to go shopping. And I did bodyguard work for him when he rarely goes physically shopping. And nobody knows him. He could walk right past you today. You would never know who he was. And even he wants some type of protection. So, hey fam, thank y'all for viewing this video. I appreciate it, taking the time out of your busy day to hang with your boy Flashlight here. Shots out to the guards. If you feel it in your heart, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment. Let me know. Y'all, everyone, I say this every episode. Everybody knows I'm in the comment section with y'all. I'm in the trenches. Let me know, what do you think the motive was for this guy, doing this? In your eyes, does he look like a professional? Does he look like an amateur? Is he green around the gills? And always remember, you remember too, guard your family, guard yourself, and guard your friends. Thanks for watching. Peace.
You ain't no real cop, you a flashlight cop.